For more than 4 decades, Andy Fletcher stood as a foundational pillar of Depeche Mode, a band that shaped electronic music and left an indelible mark on generations of fans. While he wasn't the lead vocalist or primary songwriter, Fletcher's presence was irreplaceable. He was the band's anchor, its steadying force, and often its diplomatic bridge. In this tribute, Gahan, Martin Gore, Alan Wilder, Vince Clarke, band manager Jonathan Kessler, photographer and director Anton Corbijn, longtime associate Daryl Bamonte, and current live members Peter Gordeno and Christian Eigner reflect on the legacy of the man affectionately known as Fletch. Gahan, Depeche Mode's charismatic frontman, speaks with warmth and nostalgia when remembering his late bandmate. Andy was the glue. He was the one who held everything together when we were all at each other's throats. People always asked what his role was in the band, and I'd say, Fletch is the one who makes sure we're still a band. He was our biggest cheerleader, but also our reality check. Gahan recounts that Fletcher's calming presence and humor often diffused tense moments during recording sessions and tours. We've been through so much: success, excess, breakdowns. Fletch was always there, reminding us why we were doing this in the first place. For Martin Gore, the chief songwriter and creative force behind Depeche Mode, Fletcher was more than a bandmate. He was family. We met when we were kids, we grew up together, and he was one of the most loyal people I've ever known. Even when we had our disagreements, I knew he always had my back. Gore credits Fletcher with ensuring the band's survival during difficult times. During the Songs of Faith and Devotion era, everything was falling apart. Andy was the one pushing for us to keep going, making sure we weren't losing sight of what we had built. Alan Wilder, Depeche Mode's former keyboardist and sonic architect during the band's most ambitious era, remembers Fletcher's behind-the-scenes role. Fletch wasn't the type to demand the spotlight, but his contribution was significant. He was the one dealing with a lot of the business side, making sure things ran smoothly while Martin, Dave, and I focused on the music. Reflecting on the band's dynamic, Wilder acknowledges Fletcher's crucial balancing act. He wasn't just a musician, he was a stabilizer. If you removed him, everything became more volatile. Vince Clarke, who co-founded Depeche Mode before departing in 1981, shares his memories of Fletcher from their early days in Basildon. We were just a bunch of kids trying to make music. Andy was always enthusiastic, always encouraging. He didn't play an instrument in the traditional sense, but his energy and belief in what we were doing gave us confidence. Clarke, now known for his work with Yazoo and Erasure, remains grateful for those formative years. Andy kept the spirit of Depeche Mode alive. Long after I had moved on, he was always the band's biggest advocate. As Depeche Mode's longtime manager, Jonathan Kessler worked closely with Fletcher on the business aspects of the band's career. Andy was the one who wanted to understand the contracts, the finances, the logistics. He wasn't just a musician, he was a strategist. Kessler credits Fletcher with helping Depeche Mode navigate the complexities of the music industry while maintaining their integrity. A band like Depeche Mode doesn't last for over 40 years without someone like Andy ensuring that the foundation remains strong. Renowned photographer and director Anton Corbijn, who helped shape Depeche Mode's iconic visual identity, remembers Fletcher as an essential part of the band's aesthetic. Fletch had a distinctive look, those glasses, that upright stance. He became the face of Depeche Mode in a way. Even though Martin and Dave were the focal points, Andy was the presence that tied it all together. Corbijn fondly recalls Andy's humor during photo shoots and video productions. He never took himself too seriously. That's rare in this business. He would often joke about how he just had to stand there looking serious while the rest of the band played their roles, but that was precisely what made him so essential. His natural coolness, his effortless authenticity. Daryl Bamonte, a close friend of the band and former tour manager, shares personal memories of Fletcher beyond the music. Andy loved football. He loved a good laugh. He was the same guy on stage and off. Genuine, kind, a true friend. Bamonte emphasizes that while Fletcher's contributions were often understated, they were invaluable. The world saw Depeche Mode as a trio or quartet, but those of us who knew them best understood that Andy was the foundation. Peter Gordeno, Depeche Mode's live keyboardist and musical director since the late 1990s, remembers Fletcher's ability to make everyone feel included. Andy had this way of making you feel like you belonged, even if you weren't an original member. He was warm, funny, and had an undeniable presence. Gordeno reflects on Fletcher's role in shaping Depeche Mode's live performances. He might not have been a virtuoso musician in the traditional sense, but his presence on stage was magnetic. He had an energy that made the band feel whole, and that's something you can't replace. Christian Eigner, Depeche Mode's longtime live drummer, speaks about Fletcher's mentorship and leadership. Andy had a way of making things feel grounded. Whether it was in rehearsals or backstage before a show, he kept the team spirit high and made sure everyone felt valued. Eigner credits Fletcher with helping maintain the balance between the live and studio versions of Depeche Mode. He was always conscious of the band's identity, making sure that what we delivered on stage was a true representation of Depeche Mode. He didn't just care about the music, he cared about the experience, the legacy, and the connection with the fans. Fellow 80s pop synth band Pet Shop Boys responded to the news with their own statement, writing, "We're saddened and shocked that Andy Fletcher of Depeche Mode has died. Fletch was a warm, friendly, and funny person who loved electronic music and could also give sensible advice about the music business." Singer-songwriter Alison Moyet wrote, "I have just heard the news. Since we were 10, same estate, classmates to label mates. He who kept faith with all the old gang and they with him. It doesn't compute, Fletch. I have no words." Orchestral maneuvers in the dark called Fletcher a beautiful person in an amazing band. Tonight we are celebrating selling out the Greek Theater in LA, but it will be touched by a great sadness as all of us say farewell to Andy Fletcher from Depeche Mode, they said. A beautiful person in an amazing band. We send all our love to his family. Meanwhile, Lol Tolhurst, drummer and founding member of The Cure, wrote, "Very sad news today. Andy Fletcher of Depeche Mode has passed. I knew Andy and considered him a friend. We crossed many of the same pathways as younger men. My heart goes out to his family, bandmates, and DM fans. R.I.P. Fletch." Daniel Miller, the founder of Mute Records and the man who signed Depeche Mode, had a unique relationship with Fletcher. Andy was the one who was always thinking long-term. He understood that Depeche Mode was bigger than just a band. It was a movement, a connection to millions of fans. Miller recalls how Fletcher was often the first to reach out when there were concerns or decisions to be made. He had an instinct for what was right for the band. He wasn't afraid to stand his ground if he thought something wasn't in their best interest. Reflecting on Fletcher's passing, Miller shares, "It's a huge loss. He was such a constant in the band's journey, and it's hard to imagine Depeche Mode without him." Producer Gareth Jones, who worked with Depeche Mode on their most innovative albums, remembers Fletcher's vital role in the recording process. Andy brought an incredible energy to the studio. He wasn't the type to tinker endlessly with synths, but his influence was felt in other ways. He was a sounding board, an honest critic, and the guy who kept spirits high when sessions got intense. Jones emphasizes how Fletcher played an essential role in maintaining the band's creative momentum. When we were deep in the recording process, things could get overwhelming, especially with the sonic experimentation Depeche Mode was known for. Andy had this innate ability to step in at just the right moment, cutting through the tension with a joke or offering a grounded perspective on whether something was working or not. He recalls that while Fletcher wasn't the most hands-on with production, he had a keen ear and an intuitive sense of what felt right. Fletch was the bridge between the band's internal dynamics and the technical work we were doing in the studio. If something was feeling off, he wasn't afraid to speak up. He brought a sense of clarity that was incredibly valuable. Though Andy Fletcher's passing in 2022 was a profound loss, Depeche Mode continues to evolve, honoring his legacy in every step forward. The band's ability to adapt and move forward while preserving its core identity is a testament to the groundwork that Fletcher helped establish. Their 2023 album Memento Mori and tour serve as a tribute to both Fletcher and the enduring spirit of Depeche Mode. Martin Gore and Gahan have spoken openly about the difficulty of continuing without Fletch, Yet they remain committed to carrying on what he helped build. Andy Fletcher's legacy is one of dedication, passion, and an unshakable belief in the music and message of Depeche Mode. He was more than a keyboardist. He was the band's heart and soul, the steady force that kept everything moving forward. As Depeche Mode continues into the future, the echoes of Fletch's presence remain. His humor, his diplomacy, his passion for music, and his unwavering loyalty to the band he co-founded will never be forgotten. Depeche Mode may evolve, but Andy Fletcher will always be at its core. If you enjoyed this tribute to Andy Fletcher and want to see more content celebrating the legacy of music icons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for being a part of this journey.